Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Desiree. I'm the author of Invisible Goddess Divorce Recovery and the founder of My Luminous Heart, a global community of women who are choosing to transform their heartbreak into their greatest opportunity to experience even more love, freedom, and joy. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more tips and tools about how to heal your broken heart and write your next beautiful chapter. Today, I want to walk you through the 7 gateways through which you're going to need to pass when you're moving from grief to healing in a breakup situation, especially as it relates to having been betrayed and rejected. Now, the thing that's important to remember about this journey is that you have to go through it. You can't go around it, you can't go over it, under it, try to avoid it, steer clear of it. In order to heal, you need to move through each of the 7 gateways of this journey. And the beautiful thing about this is it doesn't have to take forever. So many people think that this healing process is something they're going to be stuck in, or that they should just not do any healing process at all and wait for time to pass, wait for time to heal their wounds. But time doesn't heal wounds. All that time does is create emotional scar tissue and eventually indifference. What's powerful is what you do with that time. And so even though it doesn't have to take forever to move through these stages, this is why my entire process is built around moving through each stage effectively. But it doesn't have to take a long time, and it can be an empowering journey, especially if you're working within a community. So the first gateway through which you're most definitely going to have to pass is the gateway of shock. And this is when you're just delivered the news, or you just find out that you've been betrayed or rejected. And suddenly, just like that, your whole world has gone from everything you know, everything you love, everything being normal, to flipping on its head and having the rug pulled out from under you. Okay, this is a very disorientating gateway. And obviously it is so difficult to come to terms with this. And what the thing to do here is really, if you can get yourself grounded in this gateway, you can somewhat ease the second gateway, which is where you're going to start trying to negotiate your way out of what's happening. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the thing to do here, what's happening here is you literally feel like you're watching a movie about your life. You're not in your life. There's not much emotion in this state. It's an emotionally numb state because you're in utter shock and disbelief. You feel like you're kind of floating outside of your body and like you're just going to pinch yourself because this isn't really happening. So as I said, it's a very disorientating state. And the way to move through this gateway is to get grounded. And this is something where you practice daily grounding activities. Like, you need a lot of time. You need some time and space in this gateway to be with yourself. Yes, somewhat to be with others, but to be with yourself and actually move into an acceptance of what is happening. And because it's so fast, the change is so fast and so completely confusing, you need to make that spaciousness and ground yourself through daily walking in nature, soothing, calming activities. Some people love to cook. This is a great time to just cook and do the things that ground you into your body. You know, use essential oils. Find a way to journal more so that you're starting to get your thoughts and your feelings down on paper, so that you can actually come to terms with what's going on here before you move into the next gateway. So the next gateway you're going to move into is denial and negotiation. Okay, so the shock is somewhat over. You've realized what's going on. You're a little bit more grounded in your body. Now you're going to move into denial, which is going to lead into negotiation. Okay, this is the part where you repeatedly call your ex. You try to find out as much detail as you can about what's happening. You can start almost stalking your ex and trying to negotiate your way back into the relationship by saying, oh, I can change. Oh, I can do this, oh, but we can make it right this way. So this is a very, this is a stage where you can really, in a way, sell your soul where you will start to try to negotiate your way back into the relationship at any cost, even if it's against who you are, even if it's against your principles, even if, for example, you're someone who doesn't believe in infidelity. In other words, infidelity for you in a relationship is a total deal breaker. This is a stage where you're at risk of literally selling yourself out and doing anything you can to get back into that relationship, because you are in complete denial that it can possibly be over, especially if you didn't suspect that anything was happening. So again, the way out of this is to actually sit with yourself and ask yourself who you really are. Is what's going on acceptable to you? Are you being told the truth? And really try to tap into your own inner self and get some of the answers from yourself, rather than keep going back and contacting your ex and basically giving him the power to call you a stalker. Okay, so again, gateway number 2 is a gateway of space. You need some spaciousness here. You may want to find out some of the facts, and certainly your ex, it would be the decent thing for you to have some information, but this is not the time to negotiate your way back into the relationship, especially if it goes against who you are. This is the time to stay grounded, keep practicing those grounding principles, and move more ethically into the next gateway. Okay, and then the third gateway in your healing journey is going to be where you move into resentment and anger. Once you hit that stage where you realize, okay, this is really over, this person has left me for whatever reason, they're not coming back, this is it, you're going to kick into anger and resentment, and you're going to count every single sacrifice you ever made in that relationship for that person, and you are going to be enraged. This is the stage where you want revenge. This is the stage where you want to lash out. This is the stage where you are emotionally just kind of off the wall on that roller coaster, because you're now having to accept something, and you're going to count every single way that you gave up something for that relationship. And the way out of this gateway is it's not very simple at all. It's one of the signature pieces of my program, is where you need to actually look at the very things you're blaming your ex for, and you start to go within, not to blame yourself, but it's the other side of the coin, isn't it? There's a dynamic going on here in the relationship, or that was going on in the relationship, where he would treat you one way and you would respond another way. Every relationship has this dynamic, this interaction at play. So this is where you're going to go and look at all the things you're so angry with him about. And you're going to go within and you're going to look at where you enabled. You're going to look at where you did those things to yourself. And the reason you're going to do this, like I said, is not to blame yourself. The reason you're going to do this is to empower yourself, because when you dig deep into these areas, you're going to actually see all the ways that this breakup is inviting you to become more, to change, to transform the way you interact in your relationship, to transform your relationship actually with yourself, so that when you come out of this, you are in a higher vibration, and you are able, therefore, to access a tomorrow which looks even better than your today. Okay, and then once you started to make some progress with these aspects that you've been investigating in Gateway 3, you're going to move into Gateway 4, which will probably tend more towards depression, thinking ahead to the future, and feeling a little bit fearful. And while the anger and resentment is a really fiery, active phase of the grief process, the depression and the fear is a little bit where you're coming down now, and you're moving more in towards acceptance, but you're not quite there yet. So now you're looking ahead, and you're starting to weigh up sort of what your life is going to look like in the future, compared to what it looked like now, compared to what your ex's life is going to look like in the future. I call this breaking the fantasies and the nightmares here, because you're going to assume that your tomorrow is going to be so much worse than your today. That's not the case at all, but that's where your mind is going to go, okay? Because your mind is always trying to keep you safe. So the way out of this fear and depression cycle is really to give yourself a lot of space, but it's also to realize that again, this is the shift into the mindset of this is not an attack on me. This is not happening to me. There is a greater purpose for this. There is a greater calling me forward within this. There is a greater me being able to live more of the blueprint of my life, which is better than this. This is an evolution. I don't know what it is yet, but I know that it's there. That's the kind of surrender and acceptance that's going to get you through this fear and depression stage. And when your mind throws those fearful things about what your future is going to look like at you, is just to keep affirming to yourself, I am enough. I am enough. This is happening for me. I am enough. And this is the way that you're going to cycle through this gateway and into the next. Then you're going to move into the fifth gateway, which also is all about finding the meaning and the purpose in what's happening. And this is often the phase where people will seek out help. They'll see a therapist, they'll see a divorce coach, they'll come to someone like myself, and they'll start to find the greater meaning in what's happening. This is where they'll start to do some deeper work on themselves and their lives, and where they can look at the rejection experience and look at the events that are happening from a higher perspective and from a higher meaning to where this is taking them in their lives, okay? And obviously the way that you cycle through this meaning and purpose phase is to actually excavate the gifts in what's happening, and to start to kind of process and make sense within yourself and make sense within your life what this is all about and where you are headed next in the grand scheme of things, and what the identity that you lost, what that is all about, and what it is that you're wanting to reclaim for your life now. That is how you move into finding the meaning and purpose and into the next gateway of the healing journey. Okay, so the second last step on the healing journey is acceptance and closure. And for many people, I just want to point out this often is the final step, not the second last step. And that's because there is a step further to go, but so many people will stop here. This is the final step for them, because this is the step in which you have the deeper wisdom about what this has meant for you, who you are in relation to what's happening. And you're now able to forgive your ex and close that chapter and move on. And I just want to point out in this particular step, because this is the gateway. Between gateways 3 to 6 here are where most people, especially the ones that don't get any help, they live between these 3 gateways, and they bounce back and forward from anger and resentment to, fear and depression, to meaning and purpose, dipping into acceptance and closure sometimes, and then getting triggered by something and going all the way back to anger and resentment. So these stages 3 to 6 are where a lot of people bounce, and they can do that for literally 15, 20 years. They can bounce back and forth. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust men. They haven't worked through their heartbreak experience properly. They haven't looked at what the rejection experience means to them and how it has come there to invite them to become more. And they can't get a grip on that, so they just keep bouncing back between 3 and 6 for eternity, really. You can do that for the rest of your life, and some people do. So I just want to point that out. But the way to come to real acceptance and closure is to be able to look at this experience with a sense of, I can see why this has happened. I can see how this is pulling me forward and inviting me to become more. Okay, and then the final gateway in the healing journey is love and gratitude. And as I said in the last step, this is a step that many people don't actually even ever reach, because love and gratitude is a place where you look back over the entire situation and you're able to say to yourself, oh, thank goodness, I'm so grateful, I'm so happy that this happened to me, because my life is so much better now. And you literally are in the place where you can say, we talk about forgiveness, I always like to say, forgiveness is when you can say to someone about something they have done to you, thank you for giving me this experience. Now, for a lot of people, if they work through the entire process, the entire grief to healing process thoroughly and completely, and go on therefore with no baggage, no trust issues about men, go on to meet someone else and create a really happy life, those people can look back later on and go, oh, I'm so glad that happened to me because my life is so much better today. But there is actually a way to reach that place, that position, before you even get there. And that's through the process of real surrender. And that's through the process of when you start mapping out your future, mapping out what it is you want for every area of your life. When you start bringing back to life your dreams, your visions, your long-held visions that you've wanted for your life. When you start to make spaciousness for who you are in terms of your hobbies, and you start to just create this whole new life. And it doesn't have to take forever for you to very quickly be in a state where you can literally say, thank you for giving me this experience. And I often find in my work that women who reach, when they start moving from these stages, meaning and purpose, acceptance and closure, and then love and gratitude, somewhere between these stages, it's very common to find that their ex suddenly is not so happy with the choices that they made, or is coming back and contacting them again just at that point of release when they're ready to move forward. Oftentimes the breakup can be tested at that point. I do see that a lot, so that's just something to bear in mind. Now, as I said before, it does not take years to move through these phases, okay? When I work with people, we're doing it somewhere between 6 and 12 weeks, so it does not take forever. All it takes is some powerful questions and some introspection and some being willing to actually look within and heal, transform, and empower your life. This can be very exciting and very empowering. And it's a journey well worth taking. Like I think so many of my clients have all said to me, it's a journey so well worth taking. And so I'm going to invite you right now to put one step on this journey. I'm going to post a link to the video below, which will show you the areas that make up your wheel of life, so that you can see where you are in the phases that I've just mentioned. Go through and see where you're at, maybe see where you're bouncing between phases. And I'm going to post a link to the video all about the areas that make up your wheel of life, so that you can go and look into those areas and see where you're stuck and see where you need to heal, transform, and empower, and also see what it is you want for each of those 8 areas of your life. So don't miss that video. It's very, very powerful, and it will help you in many, many ways. The important thing is to stay connected to who you truly are, to what your soul is saying to you about where you are going and what matters to your life. Because one thing is for certain, this world really needs that beautiful, radiant light that only you can shine. Until next time.